If the Anunnaki are real, and I think they are, we have to ask ourselves, is there a God? Well, I think I'm in the best place to try to give an answer, a good answer for this. Behind me there is the Atlantic Ocean, and in front of me, behind some clouds, there is the sun. When we look to the past, to the ancient civilizations, and when we look especially to the ancient texts, we have to know that it is our modern brain looking to an ancient past, looking to what ancient people told us. And a little bit more complex than that. We are looking to some text that has been written for some people many time after some things that happened on our past. A good example is the flood. The flood might happen between many years on the last ice age probably. And who have written the Epic of Gilgamesh or the Epic of Atrahasis wrote this after many years that the flood have occurred. So we think that first we have to take these in our minds. This is a very ancient text, and we are looking to some ancient knowledge that we can't exactly understand the mind and the brain and the thinking of that people. That being said, I will try to give you some different perspectives here. First, that it's reasonable and logic, for me at least. Yes, you can look to the water almost coming here. The thing is, did the Anunnaki created everything that exists here? Did they created the water, the sand, the stars, the sun, and the planets? And that's the reason I have made this different way of thinking. Because in the past, the Sumerians and the people who wrote that texts doesn't believe in one single entity or in one single God or even in one single energy. They believe in a plurality of gods. They believe in many gods. And they believed that those gods created everything. They believed that those gods created the style of life and the cities and everything they knew. Although now, when we look to those texts, we are trying to understand with our modern brain, in modern state of mind, that thinks in one single God created everything. Those different ways of thinking might have shocked in some way. And I do believe, for me, it's reasonable that one energy or one intelligence, the almighty intelligence, created everything. This is quite simple for me to think, because when we look to nature, we can't see that anything comes from nothing. Everything that happens is a result of a previous action, and everything that will happen after is an answer to what happened before. Of course, I'm putting here a linear time in our thinking, but let's just look to the water here. The water is moving. The water is moving because there is the moon out there provoking some kind of energy on this water, and there is the wind and a lot of other forces acting in the movement of water. And then we can say the same thing about our planet. So it's a quite logical and simple for me to think and not even believe, but assume that one, I don't know if entity or energy, we can call this by God if you want. I do not like these three letters God, because I think that this God is impregnated with our religions and other ways of thinking. But it's quite simple for me to understand that there is someone or something behind everything that exists in the universe. And this everything that exists in the universe might have created not just everything, but also the Anunnaki. And then the Anunnaki came here on Earth many years before humans have even thought to exist, and they manipulated those things that existed here, and they created us. Well, things it would be very simple if it would be like that, but the thing is not so simple. And that's the reason that I have told you that we are looking to ancient texts with our modern brain and with our modern thinking. Because those civilizations that believed on that plurality of gods believed that that plurality of gods have created everything. Yes, and that plurality of gods, that gods in plural, have all of them comes from one single entity known as An for the Sumerians and Anu for the Akkadians. That's why they are known as Anunna for the Sumerians and Anunnaki for the Akkadians. They are all seeds of An. And An means heaven itself, and it is symbolized by a simple star. So, if you have already watched some of the videos of this channel, and if you will watch some of my new videos, you will understand how much I can sit on my chair and write scripts and think about all these in different perspectives. Here I'm talking to you without any script or anything in front of me, just the camera and the ocean behind me. And then you can try to understand some different things that you are used to understand when you look to the main videos of the channel. So what I would like you to understand is that here exists a deep mystery, a very deep mystery that I like so much to think about. There were many gods for our first civilizations. And all those gods came from one. And this one is thought or is known to be heaven itself. This is wonderful if we think that this one is heaven itself, and this one make everything. So this remembers me of Hermeticism, and to think about the whole, about the everything, and the everything that creates everything. And even it reminds me the alchemy, when we understand that from zero it came the one, and from the one it came the duality, the zero one, the binary, and we can blow our minds here thinking about that. So I just want to make clear for who watch my videos and those videos on this channel. Yes, I do believe in God. I do believe in some force. I do believe in something that created everything. What exactly is this? I don't know. This remains a mystery. And those different thinkings goes in shocking one against the other when we look to the ancient texts, because there is no singular entity. Well, you can understand and see in many of the videos of the channel, and we will see in many others, how I enter in a combat like I was facing an enemy, like I am facing an enemy. When I talk about the Yahweh and the situation about that invention or that creation of one single entity, because it is so obvious when we look to the history, when we look not just to the ancient alien theory, I'm not talking exactly about that, but I'm thinking more than that. It's just history itself. It's not about theology or some kind of different thinking. when we look to the ancient civilizations and how does this thinking about one singular entity and one single God came into existence, we understand that there was no one single God, but actually many of them, and then some people started to believe in one, not in one single God, but they started to believe that that God is the almost powerful and the other are not exactly real. And then history came and passed, and we can see what we look now. We can open our Bibles, at least in countries like mine, and we can see God in singular. Well, I think that this video is long, and I will end it here. I will start to make more of that kind of videos, not here. I do not live here at the coast. I'm here, as many of you know, because I was running away from the apocalyptic flood that took place on my city, and I think I will go back to my city in some days, and then I will return to work from my home exactly. But I will start to do more of that videos in front of the camera, and I will answer your questions from here. So you can put your questions here in the comment section or in other places, giving me ideas of what kind of video you want to see here. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.